Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel here at Preis Novice. In today's episode we are going to talk about why do we do it. First, the people who are interested in perhaps retiring early, the people who are investing their money and making their money into more money, people who are interested in investments and making their life richer in general. But I also mean the community here on YouTube and all over the internet, people trying to help other people with their finances. Why do we do it? So stay tuned, guys. So to the first part of this two-part episode, why are we so keen on investing? Why do we want to invest our money and make it grow for us? What's wrong with working for your money? Strictly speaking, working for your income, it's great. It's Dave Ramsey also says that our income is our greatest financial tool for building wealth. Absolutely correct. The trouble is, and we'll tie it up to part two, why the investing community here on YouTube and on the internet in general, why it is that we try to teach people how to use their money in a more useful manner, let's say, because people typically end up in debt. Why is it that we want to retire early? Because you work to pay for expenses that you yourself have typically made a choice to acquire. Now, apart from your housing expenses, you might have a mortgage, or maybe you live in a house and it's paid off. You'll have the utilities, electricity, water, and so on. If you are in a position where you own all the things around you in your life, and your payments only come down to how much TV you watch, the hours that you keep your lights turned on, how much water you use, and the food that you buy, and perhaps gas for your car, you can actually manage to sustain your life with a very, very low income. Because if you think about it, most people, they pay most of their money goes to their car. Maybe they lease a car or they buy a brand new car with a loan or a financing on it. Maybe they borrow more money than they should on a house or an apartment. These are what we call passive expenses. You make an active choice to buy an expensive car, but then the costs of that car every month are passive. And does your passive income match your passive expenses? Chances are it doesn't. You will have to pay for your insurance on your expensive car. You will have to pay for maintenance. You will have to pay for your mortgage, no matter whether you work or not. So we end up in a situation where we acquire passive expenses and then we have to put in active working time to pay for those passive expenses. If you stay home from work for a week or a month, or God forbid something happens to you, you could end up in a situation, and we unfortunately in the developed world we've seen this, people become homeless because they can't afford to pay for their expenses that they have chosen to acquire. And they chose to live this active life where they work, they put in the hours, they work overtime, they work the night shifts, they work in the weekends to make ends meet. And it's all down to choices. How did we end up in this situation? Why are there so many people on YouTube trying to teach personal finance, investing, being frugal, paying yourself first, all these common topics that you see all over YouTube? And please, I am far from the only person doing it. All right. In fact, down below, I will put a few links, or I'll put in the recommended bar on my channel, the other people that I often watch. Why is it that we have ended up in a situation where people can't handle their money? And I'll show you an example. When I was in lower school, because in high school and later on in university, those are sort of niche, and depending on what you study different topics, but the lower school is the same for everyone, at least here in Sweden. Here I have a book, Hem och konsumentkunskap. This book, or the class in which you use this book, is about housekeeping, doing your laundry, cooking food, basically teaching you how to be a working member of society and taking care of your own personal basic needs. So just before moving off to high school, we had this class. And you know, this book is great. I mean, I still have it in the kitchen. You know, there are some recipes, and you know, we can figure out the different things looking in this book. And now if I just read you some of the topics, you get an idea of what it's all about. It's food and health. That comes to 90 pages. How to budget and resource. Sustainability, access to water and energy, environmentally friendly consumption and so on. That comes in at about 15 more pages. And then consumer economy comes into about 25 pages. The place where you live, your house or your apartment. Let's see here, that comes up to about 70 pages. Cooking food is around 20 pages. The economic section is in itself quite short, and it's crazy, you know, I just have to show you this. So here are the different topics, and I don't know if you can read it. I'll move it a bit closer. Here you see it says spara, saving in Swedish. 1 page. Retirement, stocks, bonds. This, 1 page. And if we turn the page, lending, credit card, bank loan, credit card, losing your card, leasing, and rent. What happens if you can't pay? And then we come into insurance. So, you know, for studying 9 years of lower school or basic school, that is the same for everyone. We have a class, and in fact, in this class, we didn't cover this specific topic. I just figured it would be interesting to go get the book and see what it says about it. And there is 1 page. 1 page about saving and investing. And also, I read the advice it has, and you know, it says, oh, saving for retirement is typically automatically done through your employer. Yes, and so then what? What this book is saying, don't worry about it. And I think that is a huge problem of how we have ended up where we are today. I'll see if I can find some graphs or some figures from the internet, and I'll put them up on the screen right now. And we can look at the debt, and whether it being the household debt all over the Western world, or probably the whole world in general, actually. So if we take a look here at the chart, we see that several countries are way above their comfort levels. We are now looking at the household debt as a percentage of the net disposable income of these countries. And it's grim reading. I mean, several countries are above 100%, and even the ones that are lower. I mean, if you think that being low on this list means you're good, still consider that this means that 50% of your net disposable income goes to paying debt. People have borrowed a lot of money. A lot of people aren't really aware of what's going on in their life, why they are, you know, acquiring these expenditures. Oh, but I can afford the payments. Yeah, you can right now for the foreseeable future, which, depending on what type of work you have and where you live, your foreseeable future might not be more than a month away, right? Oh, I don't know if I can bring in this much money next month. Well, then maybe you shouldn't have bought that new big screen TV on payments, right? Now, houses are different. We all need a place to live, and the same goes for utilities. But even then, you know, your utilities, you can call people, you can make arrangements, you could probably reduce your costs of your utilities. So, guys, please know that there is a fantastic community all over the internet, especially here on YouTube, with lots and lots of material that you can learn and study, and you yourself can become more financially savvy with your own personal finances. We have, you know, so many different ways right now here in 2018 online that you can figure these things out, and you can start building the foundation of your own financial future. Again, I'm not the only channel doing this, but I hope I can reach an audience here in Sweden and abroad. And again, this channel, you know, fingers crossed, when money starts trickling in from advertisements and so on, you guys, the viewers, get to choose which charity we will give the money to. Half of whatever this channel brings in. So keep that in mind. People end up in situations where, you know, they spend so much of their money, they don't even make a budget. This book doesn't even tell us, oh, you should make a budget every month of your income and your expenses. It doesn't. So, I mean, we probably have a failing financial system. And in some way, it can be traced to the fact that not many countries around the world these days have a currency backed by gold. Typically, the financial system around the world is based on debt, because if a bank lends money to someone, they expect an interest, and that loan they can transfer to somebody else, and now they get the money that you are paying instead. So a lot of the financials are based on debt. Do the big banks, the major credit card companies, do they want to ruin people's lives? Of course not. Because if they ruin a customer's life, that customer is not then able to pay them the money. There are checks and balances in place, but between greed, lack of education, and probably people not being aware of their own monthly expenses and income, this is how we have ended up in the situation where we are, and this is why this whole great big personal finance community is doing so well. And we hope we can build and become bigger and greater, and obviously help even more of you people watching this so that you don't end up in debt yourself. As always guys, leave a like down below, comment what are your opinions about how we ended up in this situation where people spend more money than they bring in. People no longer live below their means. It's probably in the Bible somewhere that you should live below your means, and people still don't do it. So the knowledge of this has been around for a long time. Comment down below your opinions on how we've ended up in this situation. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys around. Take care.